नमस्कार, जय जगन्नाथ। स्वाधीनता दिवस अनेक अनेक अभिनंदन। आज कथावार्तार ए अध्यायटी कौन अतिथि नहांती सत अतिथि नहांती कारण आमे कौन अतिथि को डाकी गोटे पर्टिकुलर जिनिस विषय कथा अपेक्षा ये अध्यायटी को टिके नियारा ढंग से शूट करने चेष्टा करिछु। ए अध्यायटी आमे कथा होइचे मु एवं आपण माने मु कथा होइछि मो जातिर वीर कथा विषय रे ए जातिर भारतर स्वाधीनता संग्राम प्रति अवदान विषय रे प्रथम स्वाधीनता संग्राम विषय रे प्रथम स्वाधीनता संग्राम रो युद्ध विषय रे जो विषय रे भारत अज्ञान जो विषय रे आमे मध्य खूब कम कथा हो तो से आज एनसीईआरटी रो बही रे जोठी प्रॉमिस कराइथिला इट वाज प्रॉमिस्ड दैट इट विल बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज द फर्स्ट वार ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस ताकू नहीं गोटे रिजनल वार ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस बोली रिजनल रिवोल्ट बोली लिखा जाइए। आमे जदि विषय कथा हवानी कि कथा हम प्रथम थर पे कथबार्तार मो इंग्राजी एत शुद्ध नुहे मु भी गोटे आपण भाया ओडिया माध्यम पढ़ी बड़ होता पिलाटे तेरे प्रथम थर पर आम चेष्टा करूँ इंग्राजी कहवाई पाइका विद्रोह विषय रे जय राजगुरु विषय बक्सी जगबंधु विषय पिंडिकी बाहुलेन्द्र विषय तापंग दलबेहरा विषय सम्यक सम्यक भाव में जदि पर सुविधा सुजोग हुए समस्त विषय एकदम भल भाव विस्तीर्ण भाव आलोचना करवा विस्तृत भाव आलोचना करवा तेबे आज अध्यायटी जेहेतु इंग्राजी रे आमे शूट करिछु दयाकरी देखिबे और निज अणओडिया सांग मानक पठेइबे आम आम माटीर कथा आम निज जिनिस आमे माने टिके प्रचार प्रसार कले आमे आम विषय ही लोक जानिबे। समस्त को अशेष अशेष धन्यवाद ए जाए साहाय्य सहयोग जारी रखिथिबारु यही अध्यायटी को दयाकर निज भल पाइबा देबे एटा आम माटी पे काम आम जाति पे काम या भाविकी रहिलु। धन्यवाद। जय जगन्नाथ। After Plassey, after Buxer, a new darkness descended on our land. For 2 centuries, India was used, abused, and bled dry for the greed of the British crown. Capitalism in Britain fattened, while Bharat starved. And every time, in every corner, wherever a foreign boot stamped on our soil, there rose a rebel. A rebel we celebrate a few, but we have forgotten many. Before 1857, before Mangal Pandey fired that first shot in the eastern shores of India, in the land of Mahaprabhu Buxi Jagabandhu, the first great flame of independence was lit. This is the story of Paika Bidroha, the rebellion of the Paikas of Odisha. Who were the Paikas? You know, Jai Jagannath is not just a holy greeting, it is also a war cry. As they say, Jagannath namo sumari, rane jiba matanga pari, Paika kheda. Odisha was not just a land of temples and poetry, it is also a land of warriors. 3000 years of martial legacy. From the days of mighty Gajapati kingdom and when everything was lost, still the Paika stood their ground. Paika, the word comes from Padatika, foot soldiers, protector of forts, palace, treasures, and borders and many martial settings. They were Khandayatas, master of the sword, born to fight, trained to defend. They came in many ranks. Dalabehra, Dalai, Nayakas, Rautaraj, Brahmarabara, Buxi, etc. They fought in 5 specialized divisions. Prahari, the guardian of the land, the master of the terrain, who guard. Banua, the makers and users of the most advanced weapons, Banas. Bhenkiyas, the black cat commandos of that time. The Chekkas, the cavalry or the raiders, striking without warnings. Bhedwas, the spies, slipping into enemy territories in shadow. And above them all stood their commanders, men of honors and fierce pride. This was no ragtag militia, this was a disciplined martial society. And if wrong, they will rise. In 1739, in the village of Birahare Krishnapur Sasana, was born Jai Krishna Rajaguru Mahapatra. As we all know him as Jai Rajaguru. Scholar, swordsman, strategist, whatever you want to call him, But he is the man who stood his ground when everything else fell apart. In his initial days, he lived a quiet life, learning in Puri, in Banaras, but destiny had other plans for him. When he returned home, he saw the land bleeding. Burgess, the Maratha raiders, burning villages, killing without mercy, dishonoring women. His own kin were not spared. And in that fire, he chose to join his parental occupation as a Rajaguru to the king. He became Rajaguru to the king of Khordha, not only as a spiritual counselor, but as a chief of governance and army. With the Paikas and tribal allies, he beat back the Burgese until the terror ended. But peace would not last. The British came not with sudden raids, but with promise and treaties, and of course, with betrayals. In 1803, the British wanted a safe passage through Odisha against the Marathas. They promised the Raja Mukunda to return 4 lost Mahalas to Marathas and 1 lakh rupees and lowered the tributes. The Maratha, with their atrocities at that time, were very infamous in the land of Odisha, and hence the king readily agreed. The British won, and then they broke their every promise. Not one span of land returned, only 20,000 rupees paid, not that 1 lakh. Tributes unchanged. Jai Rajaguru saw through them. He knew this was not an ally but another form of conqueror. He warned the king before the treaty itself, but king did not listen. And here we are at another blinks of another war. With 2,000 armed Paikas, Jai Rajaguru marched and demanded justice. Harcourt, the British commander, refused. So began the fight. The Paikas struck fast. At the Pathas of Mahanadi, Britishers were butchered. It didn't stop here. Raiding Britishers outposts at Pippili, at Delanga, burning police stations, seizing arms, they cut off the supply of the British troops, turned roads into traps, forests into fortresses. From Khordha to many other places, the rebellion spread. The hills of Barunai echoed with the war cries. After a very long time, the Britishers were on the defensive approach. They brought reinforcements from Cuttack, from Bengal, European soldiers, sepoys, artilleries. Still, the Paika resisted. Even the British wrote in their record of the uncommon bravery of the rebels. A battle which initially the British thought to win in matter of few days actually went for 3 odd months. Mainly because of the able leadership of Jai Rajaguru and the never die approach of the Paikas. His efficient team of fighters and warriors fought till the last breath. 7,000 enemy were not able to make it beyond the hills of Barunai for more than 3 days at the last days of the fight even. A folklore from Khordha tells us the tale of how Ma Varunai and Ma Arunai, goddesses Varunai and Arunai, also fought, riding horses and helping Paikas in the battle. The war between Khordha and the British raged longer than the empire had ever expected. From the hills to the plains, the Paika fought like real men. But even the strongest walls can be breached. After months of relentless fight, Khordha fort fell. Jai Rajaguru was seized within the walls that he was still defending and taken under heavy guard to the British stronghold, that is Baravati fort. Even then, his mind was not on his own safety. It was on his king, Mukunda Deva. He made every effort to shield him from the British wrath. But again, in 3rd January 1805, the king too was captured. From Cuttack, both Jai Rajaguru and the king were marched away, iron-chained, to the resistance prison of Medinipur. So the fires of the rebellion in Odisha can somehow be suppressed. In the cold shadow of the prison, taking all the blame on him, Jai Rajaguru instructed the king to petition for mercy, claiming innocence, placing the blame squarely, evenly on Jai Rajaguru, that Jai Rajaguru was the cause of this rebel, I have not done anything. The British needed no further excuse. The trial was held as Bagitota Medinipur. The charge, waging war against the lawfully established government of the land. It was the British. The verdict, death. But the British wanted more than the end of Jai Rajaguru. They wanted to make it a spectacle. They wanted it to be an example. On 6 December 1806, the execution ground was prepared. They did not hang Jai Rajaguru in a rope. They did not line him before muskets. Instead, they bent 2 thick branches of a banyan tree, Boragacha, down to the earth. They tied one of his legs in one of the branch and other leg to the opposite branch. And then they let the branches go. In an instant, swift, brutal, the branches snapped back, tearing Jai Rajguru's body into two. The ground was soaked, the air fell silent. But the people watching saw something the British could not erase. The courage of a man who had faced the British without flinching to his last breath. His last sentence were, this land of Odisha, it don't belong to Pathans, not to the Mughals, not to the Marathas, and not to the British. This is our land. Until the end of our clan, we will fight for it. Given many opportunities by the British to surrender, he stood bold like a true brave heart of Kalinga. Perhaps that's why even today we say, Golani koti kete sala rahichi eka katha, jaya pache jivan nela nuai nahi matha. But the fire did not die with him. It did not end there. After a few years, Buxi Jagabandhu Vidyadhara Mahapatra Brahmaravara Rai, or as we call him, Buxi Jagabandhu, the commander of the king of Khordha, led a great rising at 1817, rallying the Paikas, peasants and tribals to revolt that shook the British for months. The British land revenue policy cut deep, stripping the Paikas of their hereditary, rent-free lands that was given to them for generations, for the loyalty to the military service, to the king. Major Fletcher, the British major, declared their service no longer needed, and even Buxi Jagabandhu, their commander, was robbed of his estate, forced to survive on charity of the Khordha's people. Zamindar suffered, riots suffered, daily wage farmers suffered, and at the end, they all raised a resistance. Buxi Jagabandhu revolt. Villages rose in defense, government buildings were burned, treasuries were emptied, and policemen fell. Outnumbered and outgunned, Paikas still fought in guerrilla techniques, still striked hard that can shake the core of the British. Another brave heart, Pindiki Bahubalendra, the commander who feared nothing, not even the British Empire. In 1817, when Odisha burned with this great rebellion, he stood at its heart. The British called him criminal, a robber, but those who fought beside him knew how patriot he was. The British locked him for life. Iron bars could not hold his spirit. He escaped, returned to the rebels, and with Krishnachandra Brahmaravara Rai and Gopala Chhutrai, he struck again, looting British, whispering rebellion in the hearts of common folks. British raised 1,000 rupees on his head, and it was not the enemy's bullet, but the betrayal of his childhood friend, Dhruva Harichandan, that delivered him, drugged him at his own dinner table, and then he yoked in chains. Twice he escaped the grasp of the British still, once even swimming across the mighty Kathajudi river for freedom. But at last, at Baranga, as he tried for the third time, the British bullet found him. Brave, defiant, unbroken, even in death. Tapanka Dalabehera, another legend. They say Madhava Chandra Rautarai Dalabehera was a man the British could never truly break. When threat came, he chose battle over submission. Even the powerless Gajapati king urged caution, but Dalabehera refused to hand over Tapanga to the British. Kill the British, Mara Firanginku was his battle cry. War elephant with mounted guns under his commandant Dhanurjay Dalai, Tapanga stood like wall. For days they fought. The British lost hundreds. After the Dalai fell, Rautarai himself took the fleet. But again, betrayal stuck. A traitor revealed his secret Tuesday rituals where he has vowed not to take up weapon on every Tuesday to the enemies, along with the location of his armory. Tapanga was the armory of the king. The British defiled the temple of Hateswari with cow-blooded ammunition, breaking the Paika spirit. Still, Tapanga Dalabehera fought. He vanished into forest, reappeared to strike again, and built forces in secret. Yet, betrayal come once more, not in the form of fear, but pity. A common man asked him for a few rupees. As he was not able to provide the same, he went to the British with the common man and asked the reward money that was put on his head to give it to the common man and surrender himself. That was Tapanga Dalabhera. Many more leaders, many more legends, be it Buxi Jagabandhu or Pindiki Bahubulendra or Tapanga Dalabhera, many more. Their courage, their defense, their sacrifices, all these are to be told individually in details. But those stories for another day. Today, remember this. We did not surrender quietly. Odisha did not bow without a fight. As we say, Swadhinata labhe keun jati ke be kari shisu sama krandana. From the hills of Barunei to the heart of Banapur, from the battle cries of 1804 to 1817, the Paikas lit the fast great flame of freedom in India. A flame that travelled across the land and won till 1947. One day I hope my country will place my Odia brave hearts in the same line of all other freedom fighters. Until that day comes, I will speak. I will keep on speaking their names. Be it Jai Rajaguru or Buxi Jagabandhu or Pindiki Bahubulendra or Tapanga Dalabhera. Jai Jagannath, Jai Hind, Bande Mataram.